This is section 32 from Caesar's Day, Bello Gallico. We're going to go about halfway down to use it here. The Roman troops, Caesar's troops, are basically stranded in Britain, and they have got to fortify their defenses and get some grain because the help that was coming from the mainland, half of it got wrecked in a storm, and so they're in a position of weakness, and the Brits know this as well. And so Caesar starts out 32 saying, while these things are done, with one legion having been sent, or maybe even sent out here, and then the ex consuetudine means from the custom, or maybe as is customary. So with one legion, as is customary, sent out to forage for grain, to go get some grain. So this is the supine here, the accusative supine that expresses purpose, not as maybe you would expect the perfect passive participle. So with a legion sent out to grain, to go get grain, which was called the Seventh Legion, with not any, so these are ablative here, with not any suspicion alleged, maybe, of war at this time. And cum here in the temporal clause, so when or maybe even while part of the men stayed in the fields or were remaining in the fields. Also, a part was going back and forth. So this is the frequentative ventito, ventitare of venio to come, here to come again and again and again. So was coming back and forth into the camp. Most editions have this as AE, not just EE. And so they who, or those who, were literally in their station, but on duty in front of the gates of the camp, announced to Caesar that a dust cloud greater than custom would bring or would bear, so greater than usual, in that part was seen in the direction of, or into which part the legion had made its journey. And so I think English speakers, Latin students, translators probably would think that the quam in partem and then the in ea parte a little bit redundant. But in English we would say, well, an unusually sized dust cloud was seen in the part where, or in the direction of, the legion had headed, but literally was seen in the part into which part the legion had made its journey. Caesar, and I'm going to put some commas here maybe, having suspected this was that, literally, id quod erat, having suspected this was what was going on, aliquid novi initium concilii. So there's a couple things here. One is that this is the genitive with aliquid, something of new, and in English we would just say something new. The other part of that is that this initum with concilium is an idiom. Basically developed a new plan here. So some new plan of attack was created by the barbarians. The cohorts which were on duty in their station, and then we're going to take use it here as the main verb with several complementary infinitives. So the cohorts which were on duty, he ordered to set out with him into this part. From the remaining, and we assume cohorts, two of them, so two of the remaining cohorts, he ordered to take up their post, so to succeed them in their station. And finally, he ordered that the rest be armed or maybe arm themselves. This is a good example of where the Latin uses a passive infinitive, but really it's probably more of a middle voice reflexive, so arm themselves. And at once, confessed him immediately, or at once follow him.